All right. After a long, hard hunt here, I had to go through several properties to get down to a property that really kind of gives you a good idea of how the ARV, how comping these properties typically works. There's a couple in here I would have made offers on, but I was trying to get to a property that made more sense. These other two, I kind of stretched some comps. You'll learn how to do that later. But so let me get to this property here. So let's go through the checklist so you see the process of how I got to this property. Um, uh, in the beginning, I did the search general, put in the address number, and then um, let me get my sheet pulled back up. Checked on property, looked at the property pictures. I went through this whole checklist here. I clicked on a map. I zoomed in. It did none of these things apply to this property. It is a little close to Santa Fe, but again, I was kind of struggling to find something. This would probably be just fine. I've bought and sold properties in here before. Here's our property right here. And being that our comps are also in the same blocks, that would be fine. So, but Santa Fe, this is probably far enough off. Like it's not right up against Santa Fe like these are. So this would probably be fine. But here's our property. We've got a 470 property. We've got a 400 property over here. I did the square around the neighborhood. So this is the neighborhood that I drew. You usually don't want to go across these busy streets too much. I mean, if you have to define comps, that's fine, but this is ideal to stay within the neighborhood as much as possible. Um, put in a square footage range and all that stuff. Got my comps. Here's my results here. Single line. Sometimes this gets a little finicky. You gotta do, I don't know why, it's a glitch. Single line, and then it goes. Okay, so then here's my three properties. So here's Cherry Creek Street. They're all on the same street, which is really nice too. I'm at 395. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these properties up. So then you go, click on results. I'm trying to follow this check. I just do it automatically, so I'm trying to go very slow and go through the checklist here. Check subject property. Check the solds in the neighborhood. Are all the solds around the subject property, or are they bunched up somewhere else? Okay, what do I mean by that? So when you click on the map, or if I've clicked on the top sold, so let's say we've got 470, 460, 480, whatever, and but those are clear over here, bunched up somewhere. That's probably a newer neighborhood, and I probably can't use that. But being that these are pretty spread out and pretty darn close and all the same type of house, I feel pretty good about this one. Um, so the next step is I also like to check to see a couple things. I like to see what lower lower actives there are. And so this one I want 395, this one I want 329, but this is a really small house compared to this one, so I'm not going to mess with that. But if the square footage is 1,400 square foot and they're asking 329, I'd probably not only make an offer on this house, I'd make an offer on this house too, because especially if it met all this criteria right here, okay? So that's what I'm talking about there. The other thing I like to look at is how is this active compared to the lowest solds in the neighborhood. So the lowest solds are 379 and 310. So I am somewhere right here, right? So it's kind of up here. So I typically my best deals are lowest. We're kind of sitting somewhere in this low sold. So whoever bought this 310 at this 1,500 square foot house probably did really well. So we want to kind of sit somewhere down here. But anyways, we'll get to that later. So um, hunt for properties around your subject property on a map. So that's what I've already done. And so we'll go to the map, and here's our subject property. We've got our high solds in the neighborhood check. So I'm going to go look at these two. That there's this 379. It's probably not in very good shape either. So, yep, it only, excuse me, it only has one picture, so that tell me the inside is probably trashed. Our property is here, so I'll just give you an idea of what our property looks like. So pretty trashed inside, right? I mean, this is Kitchen hasn't been updated in years. You got banged up doors, trash everywhere. This is a pretty rough house. All right. They want 395. They've had it on the market forever. Um, so we'll look at this 400 to see what that kind of looks like. It is 1,600 square foot house. It is clean. Interesting. Kitchen. Very interesting. So I don't know what to think about that, but that's unusual. I haven't seen that type of an unfinished basement. So they have 1,000 square foot. They're at 3.1 at 400,000. All right. This 470 down here, this is about a 1,400 square foot house. Our house is 13, so we're similar sized house. It sold, they listed at 459, sold at 470. So let's see what's going on at this house. Looks pretty clean on the outside. It's probably a flip. Looks staged, right? Look at that kitchen. Wow, that's really, really nice. This gas hood, this backsplash. I mean, they really put some money into this thing. So I like this. This is not a staged house. Looks like somebody actually works there. So somebody's living there, but they did a really nice job on this house. So it's the top sold in the neighborhood, 470. I probably wouldn't go that high on this one, being that that's 400. So I would say, and this one had a garage, which I probably should point out. This had a detached one-car garage. Ours does not. Ours has street parking. I just know that because I looked at the picture. Yeah, so there's this street parking. That's your parking right here. Garages are two-car garages about $20,000 to put in, and one-car garage about 15,000. So without the garage and the fix-up at 470, I would say I'd make an offer at like 450, or make an ARV of like 450. Okay, and then that gives us an offer of 321. All right, so going back to our results, let me see if I covered the entire checklist. Explore, hunt for properties around, check anything close. So any property that's close by this property, we want to kind of check like this 379, check that, just kind of see if you're missing something like that 400, and just kind of check to see if there's anything else. But you definitely want to be paying attention to high solds. Those typically are being what we're after. How does your property rank with the other solds? Um, so we already talked about that. Is the higher solds clustered in one area, or the higher solds across major streets? Comping around surrounding neighborhoods. If the higher price solds that are further away in different neighborhoods with similar price homes as your neighborhood with the similar style house, and maybe those higher priced comps in the other neighborhood can be used too. So all I'm trying to say there is if you're struggling to find comps close by and you got to stretch across the streets, like a busy street or into kind of a neighborhood, you can do that to find a comp as long as it's within a half mile. If you're struggling to find comps, you can narrow the square foot range down or expand it. If you're still struggling to find comps, you can go further back in time, which I've discussed that already. So what we're talking about there, if you're struggling to find comps, we can go back a year. Not ideal, but as you can see, we can pull more comps that way and just kind of go back. I'm just curious. So right here we only have 10 listed on page. So go ahead and do this 100 so you get all of them. Here's this. I wonder how close I was with my guess, kind of my guesstimate on that one. So the Tacoma is a 1,300 square foot house. Pretty darn nice inside. Yeah, I like that one. So that's not a complete rehab, but it's pretty close, right? So that's 450. It sits on Yale, which Yale's kind of busy, but not too busy. Come on. So it glitches. I don't know why it does this sometimes. Single. There we go. Here's another one, Cherokee. Cherokee. It's only 700, 800 square foot. But if it's fixed up, it only has one picture. We're not gonna be able to tell. So I'm gonna stick with that 450. This one's kind of a little bit of a stretch too, but you kind of get the idea. So let me pause here and we'll see if I can find another one. All right, I finally found a property that makes a little more sense that we can kind of run through real fast. I've already pulled it up, went through this checklist as we've talked about before. Kind of for the sake of time, you can go through this checklist on your own and see how I came to this property. Um, but I wanted to just pull up a property that is pretty clear on the ARV. So here's their property right here. It's 385 is what they're asking. And again, we don't really worry about price and what that doesn't affect our offer price whatsoever. Uh, except when the property is brand new on the market, we may pay more attention to that list price. But if it's been on the market for a little bit, it's been on the market for a little over a week, week and a half, this is starting to become, in my opinion, a little bit more stale. So we are not going to focus so much on what they're asking for it. So what we are going to focus on are what our ARV comps are. So um, they want 385 for this house. It needs work. It's in a pretty decent old neighborhood. I didn't really check to see what these buildings were. So it's kind of diagonal from some commercial, but this is kind of the neighborhood anyways. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. It's not backing it, it's kind of diagonal across the street. So I'm not gonna worry about it. So back to results. Actually, let's go back to the map. And we're gonna go to, you can use satellite or map, whatever you want, but um, here's our first comp. It's within it. So this one is 2,200 square foot. This one's 1,800 square foot. They got 475 for this house. Let me show you why there's such a big difference in price. This house looks like it's been flipped, or the homeowners just did a really good job of. Yeah, it's not flipped, but it's the homeowners spent some money on this house. Look at that kitchen. It's all updated, new granite, new. The cabinets are top end appliances. So this is a really nice house. It's a little smaller, has a detached garage, and it's even kind of on a semi-busy street. I'm not sure how busy Tejon is. Let's just take a quick look so we get an idea. So I'm just looking at so it doesn't have lines running down it. They're across from a school. So anyways, there's that property. Kind of gives us an idea of what it'd be worth fixed up, right? So we kind of get an idea at 475. We got this 480 over here. Um, this is a 2,000 square foot, so much closer. So this house looks pretty darn fresh. So new kitchen. Looks like, well, typically a fix and flipper wouldn't paint that red, but it looks like somebody does live there. But it's a pretty clean house, so I would say like 470, 480. And garage, they got a carport, they have a detached garage, so maybe couple carports in there. But anyways, and then our property, I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of time on this to get an idea. This has a 2-car garage. I would say this is even going to go for more. I would say this ARV is probably 480. So then put in that 480 ARV. Oops, we're down here. 480 ARV. These, I just had a really rough time today with finding properties that something that makes sense, or kind of cut and dry. So 480. So our offer price is 344. They're asking 385. Now, if this is brand new on the market, I might pay more attention to their asking price, but right now they're clearly overpriced. They've been on the market for over a week, week and a half. They haven't been locked up yet. So my guess is that's probably going to where they're going to be. I would say 380 probably be closer to the, what am I doing? 480. That's what I put. Yeah, 480. Need more coffee. So 480, 344. So anyways, or if you're not quite comfortable adjusting the ARV, just go off of what you're seeing. So right here, they have 480 here. If you want to do 475, but you get the idea. So we're somewhere in that range. And so once you really get going with this, I find that after a couple weeks, my ARVs or my purchase prices are just a few thousand off from my assistant. So we're really super close to one another. So anyways, I just wanted to shoot that real fast so you kind of get a clear picture of, um, you know, just more cut and dry ARV comps like these two that'll give you kind of a better baseline.